Pew, pew, pew. So sorry we missed last week. We decided to take some personal time. Sometimes that's absolutely needed.
As you can see, I look better.
You always look wonderful.
Yes, thank you.
Especially when you're naked. So,
happy holidays.
You may see some blips. We're having a few camera issues. Feel free to ignore it. We're trying to.
Which it's one of those where it happens and we see it and it kind of makes you want to look at it and yeah.
It's extremely frustrating.
Not sure what's going on, but...
But again, as he stated, happy holidays or, merry holidays.
Merry holiday.
Mostly, well, no. I think it's better as a happy because merry is like an indication of being trashed.
Trashed, right.
Yeah. It sounds a little crude.
But anyways, today's special for everybody.
Oh.
We have been waiting a while to do this one.
Patiently at that.
It's not a movie.
No, it is not. Because there were so many holiday themed ones to go off of, and some of them, they're all the same. If you've seen the plot of one Santa, killing everybody, you've seen all killer Santas.
Yeah, pretty much. So today is a tribute to Tim Burton himself.
Yes.
The master and creators of
Nightmare Before Christmas.
I'm personally a Coraline fan myself.
She is. I am Nightmare Before Christmas. I have a huge, well, not huge, but a decent collection of Nightmare Before Christmas. As a matter of fact, my window is even covered in Jack Skellington.
It's a growing project.
It is. And our Christmas tree this year is actually all
Yes,
Nightmare
we
Before
actually have a very nice Christmas tree this year.
Yes.
Yes.
So, today's tribute, again, Tim Burton himself. First actual movie that most people will remember is Beetlejuice, correct?
Most people will associate him with Beetlejuice. When I asked around, a whole bunch of people, be it Facebook or, at work or whatever, most people will name off one of three things. Nightmare Before Christmas is usually the top one. Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands tend to be his top three that most people remember.
See, and I would have went Edward Scissorhands, Sleepy Hollow, Nightmare Before Christmas.
I really liked Sleepy Hollow. That's one of those, and
I can
just
watch
about
it throughout
any.
the year. Yeah, absolutely.
About any Burton movie I've been able to watch over and over and over, and I never quite seem to get sick of them.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, there was only one that he had his hands in that I didn't particularly care a lot for, and it's going to sound weird when I say it, but it was a lot more grim and darker than many of his others, and that would be 9.
9. And that wasn't my favorite either. I didn't think to me it didn't have enough pace for me to keep interested in.
Yeah, well, I mean, and there was the apocalyptic tone to it,
of
and
course.
I think 9 is just ahead of its time. Maybe somewhere down the road it'll get the appreciation it deserves. It was beautifully done.
It was.
And there were touching moments that really kind of tug at your heartstrings. But overall, it really was not one of my favorites.
Not one of my favorites either.
Sweeney, Todd, and Coraline are my top favorites.
Sweeney Todd's a good one. Now, one I did not know that he was a part of was The Fox and the Hound.
Yes!
No idea that Mr. Burton had... Well, so he had idea concepts for Fox and the Hound, which I was a huge fan of Fox and the Hound when I was a kid.
Yes.
Huge fan. I watched that movie all the time.
Movie.
Yeah, I mean, to each their own.
Oh,
But
so sad.
I didn't know Tim Burton had his hands in it.
Well,
now, however, his concepts weren't played in at all.
So Burton worked for Disney for quite a decent amount of time, and he was a concept artist for them. Unfortunately, during that time frame, because he had done concept art for not only Fox and the Hound, but also Tron in '82,
Yes.
and the long forgotten and my personal favorite Disney cartoon movie, The Black Cauldron. I Love that movie. And again, very, very dark for Disney.
In which Burton generally goes towards those directions, which, I mean, you go with what you're good at. And he can show a dark happiness.
Unfortunately, none of his concept art made it to the final cut of any of these films.
In the beginning. Now we all know Mr. Burton as being the most famous that he is now. And also, Danny Elfman, being one of my favorite composers, has had his hands in so many movies, even had his voice in Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, did he?
Danny Elfman did.
Ha-ha.
He played the voice, one of the few of the clown on the little on the bike, on the unicycle.
No kidding! I didn't know.
He played the clown's voice. I love Danny Elfman. Matter of fact, I even have him as a playlist on my Pandora just to listen to his stuff. Batman music was all Danny Elfman and Tim Burton, Batman, 1989.
He's composed all but 3 of Burton's films. I think that's a
crazy.
Beautiful combination.
That's crazy. And Johnny Depp and Burton's wife also.
I was just about to say, well, it was his domestic partner.
Oh, yes.
They unfortunately are no longer an item. Helen Bonham Carter. Oh.
Wonderful.
I love her. Love. I like her look. I love the way she acts.
And then her with Johnny Depp makes such a amazing combination. That they work so well together.
Depp even made a joke that he had killed Burton's wife so many times. But Burton strikes me as the type of person who, when he finds something that works, he sticks with it.
Absolutely.
Having Danny Elfman, working with Winona Ryder 3 times, and then staying with Helen and Johnny through a majority of his films.
Right.
And there's a
connection.
There's a charisma there that
absolutely.
just, it can't be ignored. When it works, it works. Don't mess with it.
Now, I'm going to look at the list we've got here real quick. We got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18.
That's not all of them, though.
I know.
It's just what I could fit.
21 from 1988 to 2014. 21 movies. And I've seen all of those. So we got Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands, Night Before Christmas, Ed Wood, Sleepy Hollow.
Which Ed Wood strikes... Ed Wood stands as the only Burton film I have not seen.
I have not seen that one either.
I have not seen that one. I read...
Big Eyes is another one I haven't seen.
Oh, Big Eyes was actually really quite good.
I haven't seen that one.
I had gotten talked into watching it by one of the girls I had worked with ages ago, and I gotta say, it was actually quite good.
See, I know absolutely nothing. And also Dark Shadows.
Yes.
That was the other one that
oh, I love Dark Shadows. Quirky, but...
In which we've come across it many, many times, and which is just...
It's more comical than I remember the TV series being.
Okay.
Yes, I was that dork. I actually watched Dark Shadows when I was younger. Basically, Dark Shadows was... It was kind of like a more macabre take, a horror take on the daytime soaps.
Okay.
You know, you have Barnabas, the vampire, who is, he's met the love of his life reincarnated. And he's spending all this time trying to get her to love him in return. It's...
Okay.
Yeah, it's very soap opera-ish.
Now, some of you may not know, but Mars Attacks. Tim Burton.
Many people.
Many
people know this day and age that Burton played a part
Mars
in that.
Attacks is such a great movie.
Oh, it's another one of those
we
you
just
can watch
watched it the other day.
And over.
Yeah. I mean, Dumbo, the newest Dumbo.
Yes, which
I had no idea.
I caught bits and pieces of it. I didn't watch the whole thing. Unfortunately, I was really tired that day. I just finished a really long shift. I keep intending to get back to it. What I saw was beautifully done. Absolutely gorgeous. There is something very, very whimsical about Burton's work, and it's odd because his work is so dark. I mean, when you think Burton, you think dark.
Well, that's what I mean, though, is that he is so good at having a dark aspect that is attractive.
Yes!
And that's what it is, that he has made dark realms attractive for people to appreciate. Take James and the Giant Peach, for example.
Oh, good one.
the whole situation with him being left with the...
Oh, yeah.
And then finding his way with the giant peach over the ocean and all the obstacles he had to come... But the creatures he was with were... You had the spider, you know, like, they were creepy critters.
He stayed very true to the children's book.
They were creepy critters, and he made them creepy, but it's one of those, again, where he makes darkness attractive.
Yes, and that's what I liked about Coraline, which I finally got him to sit and really watch it through with me.
Because I had watched it, but I didn't care for it the first time I watched it, but then we watched it together, and I found it much more... Agreeable, yes, absolutely.
But you noticed what I had talked about was the big differences between the two realms that she was in. The reality that she disliked so much was dark and dim and rainy. And then when she flips over, after going through the little door, it's bright and it's vibrant. It's everything a kid wants. It draws them in.
Right.
And it just kind of added to that story a little bit more.
Yeah, I thought the spider thing was awesome.
Oh, fantastic.
That was awesome.
What is her name? Terry Hatcher, I believe is what it is. She played the girlfriend in Gremlins.
Oh, okay.
She voiced the other mother. And I think she did beautifully.
And I thought that the other mother was creepy. Like,
yes.
She had one of those where, like, you listened because otherwise you knew something bad was going to happen. Like, she had an awesome
tone. Even when she was being
and her
sweet.
persona, like the way she carried herself was just like...
Yep. You could hear her voice was poisoned honey.
Absolutely.
It was absolutely wonderful. The first time I saw it was in theaters. And I fell in love with that little adventurous character. I absolutely loved it. And it kind of was easy to relate to because growing up it was always one of those, I really wish I had a different mom.
Uh-huh. But then,
I loved my mom.
Right.
But I always wanted the fun mom. My mom was always very stern, very serious. I always wanted that fun, loving mom. After watching that, I'm glad I didn't have another mother.
No, of course, going back, I want to touch base on Sleepy Hollow. The acting, the storytelling, the actors in that movie were wonderful.
He fleshed out Ichabod in a way that I had not seen before. Ichabod was always just kind of... I mean, he still had the dork factor.
Right, when the blood that squirted up, like, in the beginning, and it, like, went up and, like, landed back, and he's like...
It was hilarious.
Awesome.
I had read at one point about the behind-the-scenes stuff, and I guess it was a goal to squirt Johnny Depp with the blood as often as you possibly could.
Well, what's funny is, what I liked about that movie, too, is that they made the blood orange.
It was, it wasn't really orange, but it was like red, like...
It had an orange
like
tone to it.
1970s cheesy red, and it was wonderful.
Right. I felt like it, because of how dark the scenery was, it made it pop so much more because of that orange tone to it.
Well, you remember the movie The Sixth Sense.
Yeah, of course, the red.
The important things you were supposed to look at were bright red.
Right. That's
how I felt about the blood in Sleepy Hollow. It's the important thing that you need to look at.
Okay, fair enough.
The blood.
Such a great movie.
I love that he fleshed that character out more, gave him more depth.
Oh, absolutely. And you felt for Johnny throughout the entire movie. The up and down roller coaster, and then his backstory with his mom and his dad, the straight Bible thumper. And
that was wonderful.
And how the mom was a green witch. And it was awesome.
I thought it was great. And I loved how the makeup work that they did.
Absolutely.
For Johnny and Christina and all the other characters.
They
had this pearly iridescent look about them. It was gorgeous. It was really awesome. Made the characters feel
kind of steampunk.
Magical.
It was kind of steampunk.
It did have kind of a steampunk feel.
Yeah.
It did.
Yep.
While still hanging on to that Victorian area. Loved it.
Kind of a mix.
Loved it. Yeah. All of his work has such a beautiful appeal to it. Now, a lot of people I've talked to, they didn't really care much for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Again, he gave a character this huge backstory.
When the fact that Johnny played it as the character being a creeper. The guy never.
He was
talked,
a little creepy.
The guy never talked to other human beings besides Oompa Loompas, and so of course he's gonna be very weird socially.
He was, yes.
And he played the part. I felt very perfect for being that. Again, if he never talked to humans, and he was always testing out candies and shit, like he didn't have that social interaction. Of course he's gonna be freaking weird.
And again, the makeup on the characters.
Oh,
that iridescent
awesome.
pearly look again.
Yep, so
I gotta wonder,
yeah.
Like all the features really stood out, and
Absolutely.
the way they contoured, even the fat kid had sharp edges.
Oh
to
yeah,
it.
absolutely.
It
And it was
beautiful.
just one solid, beautiful color.
Yeah.
Well, not one solid, but it blended so well.
And you see that in Sweeney Todd as well. And I loved that when Helen's character had her fantasies about this beautiful future that her and Todd were going to have, the colors popped. They were beautiful. And of course, Johnny still has that sullen look on his face, brooding for his revenge. I love the look of all of his work.
Absolutely.
Even a stop motion.
Oh,
Corpse Bride.
I'm a huge stop motion fan and a claymation fan. I will go out of my way to watch these movies.
But I can't get him to watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Okay, so I will watch Jack Frost.
That is a good one, though.
That is, like, my favorite.
That is a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, but Rudolph.
Oh, and all of a sudden I have all the songs running through my head and the little whistle noise he makes.
Now let's talk about the argument of whether it's Halloween or is it Christmas. Is Edward Scissorhand a Halloween or, late summer, or is it a Christmas? Is Nightmare Before Christmas really a Halloween or is it a Christmas? And so
I like the duality of all of them. And actually, I also view Edward Scissorhands as a Valentine's movie.
absolutely.
It's a beautiful
love
romance story.
Absolutely. I find it more of a Christmas movie than anything.
I do. I think it's more Christmas than it is Halloween.
It's just, that's my thought on it.
It puts more focus on Christmas Town.
Because even when she's telling the story, it's during Christmas time. It's all building up to an end of being Christmas when the whole thing goes on.
Yes.
Now, even though Nightmare Before Christmas does the same thing, where in the end it's building up towards it being mainly focused on Christmas. However, that is one of those where it's so well balanced, you can't say whether it's either or.
Yeah.
Because literally half the movie is the Halloween and the second half is the Christmas. It's
exactly. And like I said, I feel that way about several of his films. It's got a very nice well-roundedness.
absolutely.
To it.
Absolutely.
I like it.
And which, just because Nightmare Before Christmas you can watch any time of the year, because really they show all the doors of every holiday, so you really can use that as an excuse.
That's another thing. So, I know I've mentioned this before, and I've heard other people mention it. Why don't they go back and do more Jack movies to show him going through these other doors? It turns out, of all the characters that Burton has created, he is most protective of Jack.
I would say so.
He doesn't want to
ruin a character.
sully that character.
Absolutely.
There have been discussion of possibly working into other doors, and a stop was put to it because he doesn't want to ruin that character. And Jack's a beautiful character.
Oh, absolutely.
He's got that curiosity that children have.
Right. He's got the
so innocent.
Right, and that's what I was gonna say. He's got the innocence with the hearty roar of being, of course, the Pumpkin King. But again, like you said, innocence. He has that wandering mind.
Yes, and you don't want to ruin that.
No, when such a perfect character don't fix something that's not broken.
Exactly, and I think it's more fun to as much as it kills me, it's more fun to leave your audience wondering
or wanting.
Yeah, exactly.
And
leave them when they want more.
And here's another thing: the conspiracy build up to Jack.
Yes. Oh, wait, that's right. Yes.
Because you have each movie that we've discussed.
You've got Frankenweenie.
Yes.
The little boy and his dog that he brought back from the dead and all that jazz. Then you go towards Zero and Jack. move on a little bit further, you've got the corpse bride.
Exactly.
Yeah, he meets his dog when they go down to the underworld.
Exactly.
Which, another one of those flip of the worlds.
Right.
It's bright and vibrant when you're dead, but it's just when you're alive.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's the conspiracy, is that Mr. Burton has formulated movies around Jack even because he is such a prized character.
Yes.
I mean, he really is. You can't,
it's one of my favorite characters.
You literally cannot go anywhere in a renowned area and say Jack Skellington. Nobody knows what you're talking about.
Exactly. This character's become such like a pop icon.
Right.
Most of his characters are now pop icons.
There's Twitter accounts made specifically for Night Before Christmas. There's Facebook.
Even Beetlejuice.
And Beetlejuice is
they
another one.
They have people who go to conventions specifically to dress up as Beetlejuice characters. Yeah. And some of those costumes, my God, are they amazing.
Crazy good.
I have seen photos where parents have dressed their toddlers up as Edward.
It's awesome.
And the work is beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous.
The hair that I showed you
so stinking cute.
It was so, like, perfect with the movie.
Yes.
It was cool as shit.
Another one of his movies that kind of got an from a bunch of people I knew was Alice in Wonderland.
Okay, yes.
The Hatter's character, just when you feel like you can sympathize with them, you kind of lose it.
Right.
I believe that he created this beautiful Wonderland. But there were just, even for me, there were bits and pieces of it where it was kind of touch and go. I love that he stuck with so much of the traditional Through the Looking Glass story.
Right.
But at the same time, I found it very hard to let go of the Disney cartoon.
And see, that's what I think a lot of issue was. It was a comparison.
Yeah.
You're comparing an apple to a grape.
They did represent Alice very well. Very headstrong, an intelligent girl, whereas in the cartoon, she was kind of vapid. A bit of an airhead.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I like that they gave Alice more strength, a bit more conviction.
And I understand where Burton was going with. He was trying to go a different route, but staying on course.
Yeah.
I don't think it was executed to where people could fully commit.
I think it was just lost on a lot of people.
Right.
I mean, I like the movie.
Still a good movie.
Very good movie, but not one that I would watch over and over and over.
Right.
Whereas a majority of his movies I will watch constantly. Big Fish. I know you said you didn't care for that one, but I love tall tales and I love fairy tales. So having this guy tell this ginormous yarn of extraordinary events throughout his life was really cool. And then having his son expressing that he was living in the shadow of his dad's big stories.
Yeah.
That a lot of people, especially younger siblings, can really relate to that. You live in the shadow of your older sibling. Your older sibling is getting more of this or more of that, more attention, more liberties. Whereas you're kind of, some families it goes opposite. My family, it went opposite. I'm the eldest. The youngest seemed to get a little bit more freedom, whereas I felt like I was restrained more. But then again, I wanted to go against the grain more.
Right.
It's something that I think everybody can relate to, and I think that falls into so many of Burton's films. No matter who you are in the audience, you can relate to some of the characters.
Except Big Fish, I just wasn't a fan of. It just didn't tickle my funny bone.
And Helen Bonham Carter was in that one as well.
Yes. Yep.
I love it. I absolutely love that he keeps reusing the same people over and over.
Oh, absolutely.
It is amazing. If it isn't broke, don't try to fix it.
And that's another thing where you see the same character, you hear the same music, you know who it is, you know it's going to be good, and Mr. Burton has successfully done that throughout his years.
Beautifully.
From a young age to now, so...
Yes, very, very well done, Mr. Burton. Thank you so much for being the introduction that the youth need to future horror movies.
Absolutely.
Which I honestly do. I believe that Burton is the intro
The push.
that children need
The interest.
to accept horror in their lives.
Absolutely.
I really do. It's
Absolutely.
nice.
So, thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you so much for all the wonderful, whimsical stories, the beautiful characters. I hope we get to see more out of him.
Absolutely.
I really, really hope he's got many, many more years of beautiful movies.
Thank you all very much. That is our
Yes,
holiday special.
and a very happy Christmas to every single one of you, no matter where you're at.
Thank you guys.
And every one of you have very pleasant nightmares.